What can you do to get people to really listen to you if you have no formal authority? Well, Dr. Robert Cialdini, who's a renowned psychologist and an expert in the field of influence and persuasion, had this very question. And he found that one of the most powerful strategies to influence others is that of reciprocity. Simply put, this principle of reciprocity says that people feel deeply obligated to return a favor or a gift or a service when they've received one. Think about it. Let's say a friend gives you a gift. Maybe they went on a vacation and they brought something back to you. Or a colleague did you a favor out of the blue. All of a sudden you feel like, hey, I owe them one. It's almost like this internal feeling that's hardwired within us. And so researchers wanted to get curious about how this works in the real world. And they did this by working with servers at a restaurant because they wanted to understand what drives tips. And they did this with something simple: mints. Here's what they found. When servers brought 1 mint per person, the bill went up 3%. Pretty good. When servers brought 2 mints, when they doubled the amount of mints, tips didn't just double, but they actually quadrupled to around a 14% increase. But here's what's really interesting, and I think you're going to like this. When servers brought 1 mint, and then they started to walk away from the table, but turned around and said, you know what, for you special people, here's an extra mint. Tips jumped to 23%. 23%! It's a tiny gesture, but a huge increase. And what matters in this example is not just the mints. It's not what was given, but it was how it was given. So one of the keys to reciprocity isn't just to give, but it's to be the first to give and to ensure that what you give is personalized, adds value, and is unexpected. So how can you already apply this to work? Let's look at some examples together. Example number 1 is to offer some help or support. Remember, the key here is we want it to be personalized and unexpected. So we're not waiting until we need something from someone and then we offer them something and expect something in return. No, we're giving without the expectation to receive. So you might notice someone who's struggling in something and you have something that could be valuable for them and you're going to step in. So an example of this could be reaching out to a colleague and saying, hey, I noticed you're working on this presentation and I actually have a template that I worked on last year. You want me to send it? I think it could save you a whole lot of time. It's especially powerful when they don't ask and you anticipate something that they might need or want, something that's of value to them. This also just comes down to being a good person that does good things. Example number 2 is to share some knowledge or a new perspective or exclusive information. So even though you might not yet have a ton of experience or authority in a certain field that you're working in, you do have something very valuable, and that is fresh knowledge, a different perspective, or something valuable in the way that you see things, or ideas that you've had, training or background that you may have. So you might share this thoughtfully with others. This could be, just texting a colleague or someone saying, hey, I saw this article and thought of you and something that you're working on. Or I just learned this new approach in my schooling and it directly relates to something that you mentioned in our meeting yesterday. I thought you might find this valuable. And finally, another example is to advocate for people. We want to be good behind closed doors. We want to champion people even when they're not in the room. So let's say you're sitting in a meeting with a leadership team and your partner or your colleague isn't there. Bring them up. Bring up their good work. Especially, we want to do this when it's genuine and sincere. So we might say, hey, actually, Sarah had a great approach. Maybe we should loop her in, right? She did a great job last quarter. And then we want to follow up with Sarah and say, hey, Sarah, I actually mentioned your great work in the leadership meeting and they want to hear more from you, if that's real and authentic. This one's important that we don't want to BS. We want to be real. We want to be sincere. So make sure that it's actually genuine if you do that one. But the point is that we make people visible. We advocate for them. What goes around comes around. Now, the key here to reciprocity is that you're giving first. It's personalized, it's unexpected, and it's valuable. So here's my invitation to you. I invite you to consider someone or something that you may want to ethically influence. And ask yourself, what might I be able to give that can add genuine value, be personalized, and be unexpected? Again, maybe it's offering some support or help. Maybe it is offering some knowledge or exclusive information that you have. Or maybe it's advocating for them, helping them with a specific problem, sharing a resource, making an introduction, whatever it is. And I'm going to leave you with a quote that I really love from Zig Ziglar, who says that you can have everything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I invite you to check out this next one where we talk about how to gain buy-in with people by making one simple word swap. I'll see you there, and I'm sending you love.